morning, good afternoon. My name is Sophie Chevalier. I am the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer of Trace One, and I am here today speaking from Paris La Défense, the gray weather. I'm here with 4 speakers from Mintec and from Trace One, and I hope that this session is going to be very insightful for you. Trace One and Mintec are very happy to have this joint event today. It's the first time we do something together in our partnerships, and we're very pleased and sure that this will be insightful for you. We also have a very large audience. It's impressive, from all over the world. We believe that the information that will be shared today will be of great interest. We have a little bit less than an hour in total. Let me give you the agenda. So I'm going to introduce very quickly Trace One, to very little presentation, and Mintec will do the same. Our Mintec market analyst will share some very updated information on their analysis. They're all specialists on their markets, and they share this expertise and the very latest news. So first, Rutika will talk about will give information about the market of grains and meat. After, Jose will talk about the dairy, the oilseed and the vegetable oils. And finally, Ibi will talk about fish and soft commodities. Once they finish the presentation, we may have some questions. And Joseph will introduce RFX, which is Trace One module for managing the sourcing or the e-sourcing of new product and new suppliers. He'll explain the whole process. I am also the moderator for the session. It means that you have on your screen a live chat, a little on the right, where you can ask questions. I will receive those questions during the presentation and publish them. If we have too many questions, because there's a lot of people in the meeting, then we will make sure that you get your answers after. So I think it's okay to start, and I will very shortly share my screen. It's sharing. It will take time. So I'll start because we have so many information after. So Trace One has been created in 2001. It was the first SaaS platform dedicated to private label. So since then we've opened and we've grew. We today have 150 employees all over in Europe and in the United States. We cover both 100 countries with our solutions and our customers. On our platforms, more than 5,000 companies are connected and use our solutions for a large amount of transaction that is done on our platforms. We have a lot of customers. There's a sample here on the right. I'd like to share some information about product portfolio for the people that are in the call and that don't know what we do. Is that sharing? Oh, it's taking time. Okay, so we have a suite of collaborative platform. It's showing. So it starts with the marketplace where you can source suppliers all over. It's the biggest one in terms of number of companies connected in the world. It's a logical order. Then we have the e-sourcing. Joseph, at the end of this presentation, is going to talk about that module, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Then the PLM, that's the core of our business so far. So it's to manage the full product cycle management of our customers' products. There's many sub functionalities into this one. So very recently, QMS manages all the quality management system. All audits, all compliance assessment activities are managed there. And the last one is the BI, the acting, the monitoring, all the insights, all the reporting. This is the magic of the data, where our customers can follow their plans, can make some decision, and see how to use all the data that is stored in our platform. So this is a full suite of solutions. We can give you more details if you're interested. I just want to finish this presentation by the benefits that are met by the customer that use our systems. So basically, the objective is to reduce the cost of development of product. So we have made some analysis on the results and the benefits, 50 to 60%. The reduction of the time to market is 3 months. And the efficiency is improved in case of crisis management. So we all have some very strong and recent examples in mind, by 95%. So if I want to conclude, from sourcing to packaging to PLM to monitoring, we help manufacturers and retailers to collaborate with manufacturers to the entire cycle, product cycle, life cycle of what they do. So this was an introduction. I will now give the mic to EB, who is going to share his slides, introduce Mintec, and once the slides are on the screen, he will start. Right after his presentation, Rutika will provide her insight. We see your screen, EB. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophie, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm glad you could join. My name is Ibi, and I am a senior market analyst here at Mintec. For today's webinar, we will evaluate the price movements of global food commodities, which we hope may be useful to you as part of your sourcing strategy. So firstly, a brief introduction to Mintec. So we are the world's leading provider of commodity pricing and insight, covering a wide range of food and non-food categories with over 10,000 data sets. We also use advanced analytics through our Mintec analytics platform to interpret our market data. If you would like to know more about Mintec or our analytics platform, please visit our website at www.mintecglobal.com. And for the agenda today, we will be taking you through the updates of the various markets, starting with grains, then going to meat and poultry, before dairy, oilseeds and vegetable oils, fish and seafood, and soft commodities to finish. Just an introduction to our speakers. Firstly, myself, as I said, I'm a senior market analyst here at Mintec. I cover the seafood and soft commodity markets, and I have over 10 years experience in the global agribusiness commodity sector. We also have joining us today, Jose Saif, who's a senior market analyst here at Mintec, who deals predominantly with the dairy market. He will be providing a dairy update today, as well as taking you through some of the dynamics of the oilseeds market. And lastly, but not least, we have Rutika Gudeka, who's a market analyst here, dealing with the meat and eggs market. She'll be taking you through those markets, as well as looking at some of the dynamics of the grains market, what's been happening. So firstly, I'll pass on to Rutika, who will take you through the grains market, looking at maize and wheat. Over to you, Rutika.
Thank you, EB. So as EB introduced me, I would be mainly talking on the grains and meat market. So to start with, as you can see on the graph, the CBOT maize prices in US, they remain stable at $234 metric ton in May. Prices fell at the mid of the month, following the reports from USDA about a good planting, a rapid planting for the 2021-22 season, because of the beneficial moisture conditions in the US Midwest. However, the prices remain quite high year on year, at 83.3% up year on year, driven by market concerns in the Brazilian maize crop. And it is the water crisis in Brazil right now is described to be as the worst water crisis in the century. Similarly, the Euronext maize price in the Europe, it remained 13% up year on year, 13% up month on month at 248 euros per metric ton, which and also remained high at 47% year on year. It is mirroring the benchmark price increase because of the tight market supplies and weather conditions across the major producing countries. In addition, the EU maize supply is also projected to remain tight for the 2021-22 season, with ending stocks expected to be at 625,000 tons, lower compared to 2019-20. Similarly, when we see the wheat prices, they have been also on a bullish run, and they stand at $258.5 per metric ton, up 5.4% year on year and 36% up year on year. And the bullish run in the wheat market is reflecting the rises in the maize market, driven by the tight market supplies and also a substantial purchases from China. And also it is also mainly driven by the weather concerns in the US, and that's why we see that the price is quite high, reflecting, you know, the rise in the wheat market in the US. The Euronext price of wheat in Europe, it also stands at 217 euros per metric ton, which is high 16% year on year and 3.6% month on month. And it is again mainly driven by the wheat and maize market in North America. And also the production in the Europe itself for wheat is likely to be low, and this indicates tight market supplies, which has been supporting prices. So whatever is happening right now in the grains market, we can see the prices, they are trending upwards, and this has translated into a bullish market for meat, because these grains, they form an important component of the feed prices, and feed is the most important driver when it comes to the meat market, being accounting for a major share in the cost of production. So as you see, the US pork prices, they increased 4.2% month on month and 86% year on year in May to reach $2,409 dollars per metric ton, and it is mainly driven by the bullish feed grain market and low pork stocks in the country. And also it is supported by export demand from China and reopening of the US economy, and there is a domestic demand increase seen recently that is supporting the pork prices in the US. Similarly, the EU cattle market, it is 2.5% up. EU cattle prices are 2.5% up month on month and 15% up year on year. And it is mainly driven by the tight supplies in the market. The beef production in January and February, it dropped almost 10% year on year. And the number of EU cattle available for meat production is also forecast to drop by 2.4% in H1 2021, which indicates a tight beef market. Also, when you see the UK sheep meat market, it has increased 3.4% month on month and 28% year on year, and it is because of a decline of 7% production in 7% production, which has reached 19,100 tons in May. And the market participants also believe that the prices of lamb to remain firm at least till mid of July. It is and mainly driven by the Muslim festival of Eid al-Adha, wherein they consume a lot of lamb. Last but not the least, the chicken prices in US, they reached $2,276 per metric ton, up 47% year on year, and this is mainly due to the weak year on year production in the first half of the year, record low stocks and high feed prices. And some categories like chicken wings, their takeaway demand has reached up during the pandemic, and they are at their lowest storage stock level since 2012. So this has exerted an upward pressure on the US chicken market. So overall, the bullish feed market has translated an upward movement in the overall meat category. I would now ask Jose to take over the presentation and talk about the dairy market.
Thanks, Rutika. Hello to everyone. My name is Jose Saiz, and I'm updating the most notable recent price movements in the dairy sector, particularly milk in the US, butter in the European Union, whole milk powder in the European Union, and non-fat dry milk in the US. In the United States, the spring flush is at its peak, and milk is painful. From January to April, milk production grew 1.6% year on year to 66 billion pounds. Milk is mainly being channeled into the cheese production. A spike in the US dairy exports are supporting US milk prices. The May average price of the US milk reached $377 per metric ton. This means up 10% month on month and up 32% year on year. European Union butter prices in May experienced a limited gain, following a steep rise since the beginning of the year. The rise of European Union butter prices was weighed down by low export demand, down by 18% year on year during the first quarter of 2021. And the later than expected reopening of the food service sector in addition to bad weather. The May average price of the European Union butter stood at 4,102 euros per metric ton, up 1.3% month on month. The whole milk powder market remains bullish. European Union whole milk powder production was down 82% in the first quarter. The high milk production cost in China is boosting imports of whole milk powder from the European Union, pushing up prices. These purchases are likely to continue through the third quarter of 2021, supporting prices. The May average price of European Union whole milk powder was recorded at 3,205 euros per metric ton, up 21% year on year. The US non-fat dry milk is firm. Mexican buyers have recently started to buy aggressively, partly due to a drought concerns in Mexico. Milk collection is being channeled to cheeses and worries about tight non-fat dry milk supplies later in the year are rising. The May average price of US non-fat dry milk stood at $2,995 per metric ton, up 34% year on year and 6% month on month. Now I'm updating the most notable performance in the oilseeds and vegetable oils. Particular sunflower seed in Russia, sunflower oil in the European Union, soybean in the US, and soybean oil in the US. Weakness in the wider vegetable oil complex due to a resurgence in COVID-19 cases caused sunflower seed prices to weaken in May. Additionally, with the sunflower market having an elevated price, market participants are currently not purchasing the current marketing year, preferring to purchase these new supplies in the following marketing year, which begins in this August. The May average price of Russian sunflower seed was recorded 52,900 ruble per metric ton, down 0.2% month on month. The European Union sunflower oil price fell slightly in May after surging in April, with demand growth slightly weaker in May. The May average price of European Union sunflower oil was recorded at 1,304 euros per metric ton, down 1.3% month on month. Cold weather at the start of the 22-22 US soybean planting season has caused supply concerns, pushing prices higher up in May. The US is also entering in the summer months driving season, causing demand to remain firm for the biofuel feedstocks. The May average price of CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade, soybean, was recorded at $552 per metric ton, up 78% year on year and 3.5% month on month. Soybean oil followed the price trend in the soybean market, rising on tight supply concerns and firm demand due to a strengthening vegetable oil complex. The April average price of the CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade, soybean oil was recorded at $1,366 per metric ton, up 130% year on year and 12% month on month. Now I pass on to Ibi, who is speaking about fish and seafood.
Thank you very much, Jose. So, excuse me, I will take you through the fish and seafood markets very briefly, talking about salmon, prawn, and also the tuna markets. So, firstly, starting with the Norwegian salmon market. After a brief dip in April this year, the Norwegian salmon price continued its upward trend that it has through most of this year, increasing respectively by about 13.4% month on month and 18.9% year on year to about 70 Norwegian kroner per kilogram. Now, this is the highest monthly average since the start of the year, since January this year, actually. And it was supported by comparatively tighter global salmon supply, particularly from Chile, where there's been some issues with production, which I will discuss in a bit. It's also related to the improving levels of demand in Europe, particularly, and in the Americas, particularly retail demand, as well as out-of-home consumption, as more countries are easing their lockdown restrictions and opening fresh fish counters, countries like France, the UK, we're seeing the demand really increasing and subsequently prices are following. Similarly, if you look at the Chilean salmon market, the May average price, which was $8.29 per kilogram, it was an increase of almost 30% month on month, as well as almost doubling year on year. And as mentioned previously, there is very tight supply in the salmon market, which is being driven by two key themes. Firstly, as Jose mentioned, which is kind of tying to the market, the oilseeds, which are used as feed for these fish, and oilseeds prices high, translated into higher prices for the salmon in order to make margins for the salmon farmers. In addition, there's been real supply issues with the Chilean producers, primarily caused by algae blooms. So algae suffocates the salmon, it takes the oxygen out of the water and consequently leads salmon to suffocate and high mortality rates, which has really increased the price by obviously restricting that supply. Also, as I mentioned again, the US, which is the main export market for Chilean salmon, has also opened up many of its outdoor eateries, restaurants, bars, etc., which is also fueling that rise. Similarly, you can see a trend with Ecuadorian prices. Just to let you know, we started the Ecuadorian price series actually is relatively new. We started in January 2020, which is why you don't see January 19 as compared to the rest. So the average price in May was $4.59 per kilo. Again, it's an increase of 9% month on month and a high, almost 30% year on year increase. And this is attributed to tight supply, particularly from India, which is a main supplier of prawns to the US. Tight in supply caused by many issues, including the re-escalating cases of the COVID virus through India, which has led to low activity in a lot of the farms, which has supported more demand for Ecuadorian prawns, particularly in Europe, as well as the Americas. And it's that demand rebound again on the other side of the, as the lockdown restrictions are easing, you see more demand from restaurants as well as at-home consumption. This is the same with tuna, which the skipjack price, it didn't rise it hasn't been as firm as some of the other seafood, but it's still showing a positive trend on the year on year. And on the year on year, it was up by about 7%. And this is, again, due to this improving demand. Skipjack tuna in itself performed relatively well through the last year because it can be used in cans, which is what consumers have been increasingly buying during this COVID pandemic. So that's the fish and seafood market. I will now talk to you about the soft commodities, which are really interesting markets, actually. We're seeing some surging prices in both the sugar and the coffee markets. If we first look at the New York Intercontinental Exchange futures prices, so these are 3-month ahead prices at these exchanges. The New York price increased by almost 60% year on year and about 7.3% month on month in May, which was about 17 cents per pound. And the London benchmark, which is the respective ICE benchmark, also increased very significantly during this time, 28% year on year in May and about 2.5% month on month. The key drivers for these markets are firstly improving demand fundamentals, where, as we mentioned, with the lockdowns easing, more demand coming from greater footfall, tourism increasing, as well as consumers eating out of home, going to restaurants, buying candy, buying chocolates and confectionery, as well as other type of foods that contain sugar. Also, we're seeing very tight supply from the major producers, primarily Brazil, which is obviously the #1 producer and exporter. The Brazilian supply has been very tightened because of the drought that was mentioned previously in the presentation. Drought in some of the key producing areas has cut the sugar production in Brazil this year, in the 2021 marketing year. And even though we're seeing extra supply coming from India and other countries, it's been insufficient to make up the shortfall from Brazil. And so that's what we're really seeing driving up those sugar prices. There's also a bit of a currency effect because the Brazilian real has appreciated against the dollar through most of the second quarter of this year. However, there is a bit of a bounce back now, so that hasn't had as much impact in the last month, although that's been a key driver over the course of the year, just because Brazil is one of the biggest exporters. So when it obviously sells its dollar-denominated products, then it becomes higher at the exchanges. And I'll also talk about, very briefly, look at the coffee markets. The Arabica coffee, which is seen as the premium coffee, it's topped 151 cents per pound in May. And actually since then, it's actually gone even higher, up past 160, which is some of the highest prices for over 4.5 years. And again, it's very correlated to what's happening in Brazil, the major producer and exporter, where really dry weather last year during the developmental stage of the crop really impacted the crop this year. Just for your information, the Arabica crop generally has an on and off year crop where you have a very high crop one year and a very smaller crop the next year. So the Brazil is coming into its small crop period. So as well as the big crop last year being decimated by drought, we're also getting the small crop, which is likely to also suffer from these situations, which is obviously what's rising, bringing the price very high. There's also some disruptions from Colombia, which is the second largest Arabica exporter, where there's been lots of protests at the ports and other issues which are affecting the freight transportation. And last but not least, I will have a quick look at the Robusta coffee market. The Robusta is typically used more in the blends that people tend to drink at home, rather than the Arabica, which is normally consumed more likely in the coffee shops and seen as more of a premium product. The Robusta price, however, hit a 27-month high of almost $1,500 per ton in May, and this was an increase of about 26% year on year and 10% month on month. And it's again attributed to supply concerns, particularly in Vietnam, which is the world's largest Robusta exporter, where firstly there was drought last year, which affected some of the crop, as well as the high cost of shipping. Shipping costs are surging, particularly in the Asian region, which is really supporting that Robusta price and leading to very, very high and historically high prices. So that concludes the Mintec presentation on these commodities. I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us on the address there provided. Yes. I will now pass you over to Joseph, who will give you, I'm sure, a very interesting presentation.
We have some questions already. Thank you. Maybe before we go to Joseph.
Sure.
I think there's at least one for each of you.
Okay, okay, great.
Pork market for Rutika. We have a question on soybean and question on Arabica coffee. So let's answer this question.
Sure, I can answer. I've just seen a question that we have is how do I see Arabica prices playing out in the second half, so H2 2021? It's a good question. At the moment, I think Arabica's trending around the 160, so 160 cents per pound mark. And even though we've seen these prices rising almost exponentially through the last 3 months, we do feel that there is a ceiling. I think a lot of the price escalation we've seen is mainly due to speculation because of the low Brazilian crop that is upcoming. However, I feel that, and a lot of the talk coming from the market is that actually Brazil had a record high crop last year. So it was a huge, huge crop. And Brazil is now selling a lot of these beans into the certified stocks into warehouses. So even though we're expecting to see a very low crop, maybe 40 to 50% reduced next year, so which will really impact the global supply, we think there's sufficient stocks in private storage that will help to offset that, but that's not currently being priced into the market. So to answer the question, over the next 6 months, I see the prices probably, I see them rising maybe 10 to 15% where they are at the moment, but I see a ceiling coming at around, say 180 cents per pound. However, there are some analysts that think the price can even top the 200 cents, and there's others that think it can go much lower. It's a very, very tricky market at the moment because there's so many dynamics, but I see it going like 10 to 15% higher.
Yeah, thank you for this detailed answer, Ibi. We had also some additional question. Maybe we can talk about the pork. Rutika, you want to take that one? Where do you see the US pork market heading in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, actually, it's a very interesting question, and I would say that the US pork market, it would continue to rise for the next 3 to 6 months. And it's mainly driven by, as I mentioned before, the feed market is on its bullish run, and that is translated into the pork prices. And there are several other factors like the low stocks in the US market currently, also the production for the production in Q2, it dropped dramatically, and it was also estimated to drop in Q3. This is impacting the supplies in the market. There have also been talks about the processors demand from the from the domestic market itself for certain cuts, and it's driven mainly by the retail demand, which has been increasing. So all these factors, when you club them together, you see the market to be bullish for next 3 to 6 months.
Thank you, Ritika. Jose, we have two questions, one on the soybean and one on the butter. Do you see the questions? Are you on mute?
Sure, I don't see the questions. Yes, happy to answer about butter. Butter question.
Okay, so let me read it for you. There's many questions. What is the forecast price for European Union butter in the third quarter?
Okay. That's also a good question. I think the butter price in European Union in the next quarter is going to ease the 4,000 euros per metric ton. Basically, I think this has been driven by a forecasting increase in butter production. So far, dairy processors, they have been channeled the milk into the cheese with the aim of getting higher profitability. But now I think with the low stocks of butter, they are focusing on butter production. Also, I think the ease of mobility restrictions is also, I think it's this kind the retail demand, I think, is being discouraged during the summer season. And consumers, basically, the people are more consuming in HoReCa, and also consumers become more conscious about weight management. And so I think probably the most likely outlook is the market is going to go down, and it's going to ease the 4,000 euros per metric ton.
Thank you. And last question for you. Where do you see the selling for soybean oils and other vegetables prices, and why?
Okay, thanks. In this case, I would prefer to reply directly to the questioner about the soy oil price, because I don't have an educated idea what's going to happen in the outlook period for this price.
Okay, fair enough. There's a question for the Mintec team. It's a more global, and that will be the last question before we move to RFX with Joseph. So the question is more general. Do you also monitor the prices of herbs like parsley, basil, dill, and spices like pepper, cinnamon, cumin, sesame seed, etc.?
Yes, thank you. We do analyze spices markets, so we do pepper, cinnamon. I think we do cumin as well. I'm not so sure about sesame seeds, and
we do have.
Yeah, we have sesame seeds. Well. Thank you, Rutka. I'm not sure also about the herbs, but
we do have some herbs, parsley, some other basil. So we have good herb series on our platform.
Thank you, Rutka.
So Dmitry, I believe that we can have a conversation with Mintec afterwards to check exactly what you're looking for. That was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are right on time. Joseph, the floor is yours now.
Okay, great. I'll try and stick to the time. Thank you, Sophie. So as Sophie said, I'm going to be presenting the Trace1 platform. But most importantly, focusing on how you can source new products and suppliers using our e-sourcing tools. So just to introduce myself, sorry guys, this is an old photo. Obviously, I've grown a bit of a beard since then, but I've been working at Trace1 for almost 4 years now, and my role is basically to ensure a continuous stream of activity on our business platform, but with a main focus on the networking and e-sourcing aspects of the platform. So my next slide here is just to give you a quick inside view of our online platform. So as Sophie mentioned earlier, we're a platform-based SaaS company that helps both retailers and suppliers centralize all their activities in one place. So much like many online communities, you can connect with other people. You can post news, you can post on the activity feed and send messages, loads of different things. But I would have to say that the main difference between our platform and other platforms is that ours is entirely dedicated to the retail industry. So you'll only do information, meet people that are relevant to your business. And obviously, it's what we're talking about today. It's the gateway to the online sourcing tools. So let's get right into it. Next slide. So first of all, why did we create Trace1 Esourcing? Well, we all know that consumers are becoming more and more demanding. They're looking for healthier and more sustainable products every day. What we also know from our surveys is that retail buyers find it really hard to stay ahead of consumer trends. And last but not least, let's not forget the suppliers. They find it really difficult to get noticed by probably some of the buyers that are watching us today. And obviously their objective is to sell more products. So if we take a closer look at some of these facts, suppliers invest huge amounts of money in trade shows and specialized events, especially with the pandemic. All those have been cancelled, so they're out the window. They struggle to find the right people to sell their products to, and they also find it difficult to develop products that meet consumer trends. And then on the other hand, we have the retailers, so they attend hundreds of industry events. They need to constantly find the most innovative products to stay ahead of competitors. But most importantly, they want to find the best product at the best price. So what was our solution? Taking into account all our experience in the retail industry and all the knowledge and all the surveys that we've sent out, we actually decided to create Trace1 Esourcing. So Trace1 Esourcing is an online solution for buyers to quickly source innovative products, find reliable suppliers, and of course, better their product margins. So what we come up with was 3 different packages. So for Trace1 Esourcing, we currently have 3 packages. The first part is free access to all suppliers and their products. So when I say this is free, this means that you can sign up now and have access to this marketplace, which means you'll be able to source new products and new suppliers straight away with no subscription. The second package is RFX Essential. So this is an annual subscription for those that need to collect more detailed answers from their suppliers and obviously send out RFPs. But also for those who need to create and exchange information on RFP processes with different team members, because sometimes there's not just one person, but multiple people working on the RFP processes in a company. And finally, our last package, which is our most sophisticated package, is RFX Enterprise. And that's for those who need more advanced features, who need specific integrations with their current solutions, and we can develop solutions together. So, so there are 3 packages, and you'll see that as we move forward in this presentation, I'll be giving you more details about each package, so that way you can better understand which package will suit your needs. Maybe it's the marketplace, maybe it's RFX Essential, or maybe you need a bit more with RFX Enterprise. So moving on. So now for the exciting stuff. So these are the features. So like I said, once you've connected to the Trace1 platform, you'll be able to find new products and look at all the different innovations our suppliers have to offer. And you'll also be able to use the search bar to look at more specific products and even search for suppliers. And also, depending on your profile and the product categories that you're actually interested in. So when you sign up to Trace1 Network, we'll ask you a series of questions which will define your profile and the product categories that you're interested in. And that means we will automatically suggest products to you. So what does this mean? This means that you can stay ahead of trends, see all the latest innovations without actually having to spend hours searching for themselves. So as you can see in the screenshot, these are all the different suggestions that will appear. And depending on your product category, different ones will appear. So after this, once you've found the product that you're looking for, you can take a closer look at the product sheet. So here you'll find all the pictures of the product, a description, all the information regarding ingredients, product availability. And also I must mention that our marketplace focuses on the healthy and sustainable nature of the product. So you'll have a set of criteria that really puts that forward. Also, just to let you know that we actually have an entire team that's dedicated to helping our suppliers upload all their products on a daily basis. And this is just basically to make sure that, we don't have any fake products and that our product catalogs are all correctly filled in with all the relevant product information. And only then are we able to validate and publish these products on the marketplace. Okay, so next slide. Oh yeah, another nifty feature that we have in the marketplace is that once you've actually found your products or a series of products that you're interested in, you'll be able to see which ones best match your needs thanks to the compare feature. So as you can see in the screenshot, you have all the different products that we've selected in the marketplace. So here we have a series of milkshakes and smoothies, and then we can actually highlight or display all the differences. And the idea is here just to make, just so you can save time in the decision-making process and find the product that's right for you. So once you've found that product, as you can see with the little buttons up here, you can directly, you can either contact the supplier directly through the instant messaging system, or you can request for samples and quotations. So, it's just making your life much, much easier. Okay, so next we have sourcing requests. So many of you might say, okay, I understand the marketplace, but what if I'm searching for a product, a more specific product, or, oh yes, so you contact one of our community managers and you say, I can't find the product I'm looking for something very specific, or maybe you would like to co-create a product with a supplier. So in this case, what we would recommend is that you send out what we call a sourcing request. So with a sourcing request, you tell the suppliers what you're looking for. So you can add a product description, loads more information on, for example, percentage of ingredients, production capabilities, or supplier certifications, a whole set of information that you can send down to suppliers to find your specific product. So once you've actually completed this sourcing request with all the relevant information, you can send out your sourcing request to a specific category of suppliers within our database. And then all you have to do is wait for the answers to roll in, basically. So we're just, trying to make your life easier, save time, and help you sort through thousands and thousands of suppliers in just a few clicks. The next step, once you've actually received answers from your selected suppliers, will actually tell you which ones best meet your needs by providing you with a match percentage. So as you can see here on the screenshot, you have a match percentage in the top right corner. So we have 78%, 67%, 56%. So as you can see in this example, the buyer is most likely looking for a supplier that can produce a range of juices. So here, the two top companies would be Juice Factory and All About Smoothies, as they have the higher percentage match. So what we would do then is we would advise this buyer to start contacting these suppliers first by requesting quotes, samples, or sending them a message in the instant messaging system. So this is, as I said, this is our first package, the marketplace. So this is what we like to call the freemium version of our e-sourcing tools. So it's already quite a lot of tech to get your heads around. Our buyers generally use the marketplace end sourcing requests as a way to pre-select suppliers before actually moving on to the RFP phase. So now let's move on to the RFP phase, or what we like to call our RFX Essential package. So obviously, we understand that launching and managing RFP processes can be quite time consuming. You've got to communicate with different team members for on different platforms, and all this really slows down the product development process. So with RFX Essential, you can create RFIs, RFQs, RFPs with your team members and send them to targeted suppliers on one single dashboard. So here I've listed some of the things that you can actually do. So you can define the list of suppliers you want to include in the RFP process. You can list all of the products that you're actually looking for. You can set your own standards in terms of quality, packaging, pricing, and delivery. And you can even build personalized surveys that you can send down if you need more information. So that, the idea with RFP, the idea with the RFP process and our RFX Essential is that you collect as much information as possible in the shortest time possible to make quick decisions and obviously better your margins at the end. In the end. So next slide, if I can turn it. Oh yes, I almost forgot. So what you can also do is if you need to, if any of your team members need to intervene in the RFP process at any time, for example, if they need to fill in any missing information or actually validate the RFP, you'll be able to manage which users have access to which RFPs at any time from any place. And also another great thing about RFX is that once all the RFPs are sent, you can track them and follow their progress all in one single place. You'll be able to quickly see which ones need tending to. For example, you can see in my screenshot on the right, we have all the ones that need to be answered, all the ones that have already been closed. And as you can see in the bottom left of this screenshot, you can actually create template RFPs and share them with your team members to save time, you know, because some of you may have similar RFPs that you need to send out to different suppliers. And of course, like any good SaaS platform, you can, if you need to share these results during company meetings or with any other team members outside of the platform, you can actually download the results in Excel format, and then you can use them as you wish. So my before last slide, you can also access an overview of suppliers' proposals and all their prices. And I would recommend that, you know, you cross this information with the dashboards provided by Mintec, just to make sure that the commodity prices are in line with the market before actually making your selection or any decisions. And you can track each supplier's progress. And finally, when you're ready to make that decision, or should I say when your team is ready to make that decision, you can send messages to the suppliers informing them of your final decision. So there we've had a view of marketplace and RFX, and now I'm just moving on to my last slide, just so, you know, to give you guys a recap of everything that we've learned about Trace1 Esourcing today. So firstly, you can use the marketplace to search for new products and suppliers. This means you'll have access to one of the largest FMCG networks in the world for absolutely free. Yes, I know. And then you can also publish sourcing requests to suppliers to find new products, but also use the sourcing request to shortlist suppliers before launching your RFP processes with your team. And last but not least, obviously, we have our last package, which is RFX Essential, which will allow you to essentially create and manage all your RFPs and share them instantly with your team members online and in one single place. Once again, I have to repeat that because, you know, it's making life easier and it's saving us a lot of time. And then last but not least, you'll be able to collect answers from your suppliers, compare the offers, make quick decisions, and of course, you know, save a bit of money in the process. So thank you for listening to the platform and e-sourcing presentation. Obviously, if you'd like to receive a more personalized demonstration of our e-sourcing tools, please do get in touch. We'll obviously be sending all our contact details to you after this webinar. So thank you very much, and I'll give you back to Sophie.
Joseph, thank you very much. We received 3 questions for you.
Oh.
4 minutes left, so
Okay. I tried to.
I'll ask you the question. So there's a very short one. How many suppliers are in the marketplace platform?
Yeah, so basically Trace1 works with, on the Trace1 platform, we have over 20,000 suppliers. So obviously all these 20,000 suppliers all have products that can go on the marketplace. We currently have just over 5,000 products on the marketplace, but as I said, we do have a dedicated team that is actually working, contacting all our different suppliers, you know, filling out their product catalogs every day and making sure that all the information regarding the products are as relevant as possible for our buyers.
Okay, so there's another question. Do you have health and wellness range in your supplier marketplace?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have health and wellness?
Yes, definitely. So the focus on our marketplace, and it's probably what makes us different from the others, is that we focus on the healthy and sustainable nature of products, such as locally grown products, whether they have any additives, if they're cruelty-free. So these are actually a set of filters that you'll be able to find in our advanced search bar. So we have different features where you'll actually be able to put all these product claims in if you're looking for a product that's cruelty-free, that's locally grown or, you know, that's sustainable. We actually focus our marketplace on these different product claims. So yes.
Okay, thanks. And the last question, how do you access the marketplace and RFX?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. It's really easy. All you have to do is go to www.trace1.com and then you click on access your solutions. It takes about, I'd say about 1 minute total to sign up. And once you've signed up, you'll have access to our marketplace with all the different suppliers and all the different products that are available. And then obviously, if you need further features or you need us to support you in any way with different projects, well, then we can take a look at all the different subscriptions and see which one really fits your needs. But for now, you can sign up, go on the marketplace. It's only 2 clicks away. So.
Yes, thank you, Joseph. So that's clear. In the 2 minutes left, we've received other questions for the Mintec team, oilseed question or soya bean. I would recommend that you email directly the analyst. You have the contacts in the material of this presentation because we need the expertise on soya bean, and Jose covered it, but we have somebody else that can answer you. Yeah, so I would recommend for the other questions that we follow up after this this meeting, because we have 1 minute left. I hope that you found this interesting. I would like to thank you, the speakers. It was a great job, just in time, and because it's also something that is at the moment very important, I would like to wish our British and Danish,
Woo! Come on, England.
Come on, England.
good luck for tonight.
I'm watching it in Paris.
Thank you so much.
Very happy.
Lucky you.
So thank you, everybody, and let's catch up on this presentation. You received some follow-up emails. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.